Hello, everybody. Welcome to Power 10 Sports. We know you missed us. We're glad to be back. It's been about, I think, a little over a month since we recorded. Life kind of got in the way with a lot of us, but we're back and we're ready to put out some great content.
Better than ever.
Yeah. Joining me this week, John Sacco. You know him, you love him. He always has his hot takes ready. And our special guest this week, he has been the co-host of Big Z Sports for 7 years, been with the show for 10 years. Filling in as a DJ on air at WTZ for 3 or 4 years, announcing at Midvale Speedway in Midvale, Ohio for 10 years, and the voice of the Speedway for the past 7. Also announced for 7 years at 250 Speedway. Where's that at?
I was down in Caddis.
Okay.
Now they're talking about opening it back up in September, October timeframe for some one-offs, but they sold it out to Gas and Oil a couple of years ago, so. It's a really fast dirt track down by Caddis. So yeah, it's good stuff. Down just past Tappan Lake.
And he's also been a firefighter for the past 23 years, 19 at the Youngstown Air Base. Chris Kail.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yep, always excited. And I
always
get to work with you now too. So yeah, because of this time gap, I now have an internship at WTUZ where I got to meet Chris Kail in person yesterday. Sometime in the past 24 hours, I met Chris for the first time.
Yep.
But I had been told to get him on because of the big event this weekend, which is the Indianapolis 500, which we'll cover later in the show. It's kind of a bit, since it's been a month since we last recorded, there's a lot of stuff we could go over. We're going to try and keep it relevant and more to the stuff that's happened in the past week or so, just so you're not getting bogged down with everything. And what better way than with the thing that everyone is hating on right now, Tim Tebow, becoming the tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and everyone already hating
NFL
it.
News.
But yeah, signs no guaranteed money, $950,000 if he does make it. Essentially a practice squad deal. That would be a veteran. But I was kind of talking with somebody earlier this week. The reasons why this might possibly be bashed is it because he hasn't played in the NFL in 6 years, because he's 34 years old, or because he's never played tight end prior to now. What could possibly be the reason this isn't going to work out?
All of the above.
Yeah, is it A, B, C, or like all of the above? And I was like, it's all of those reasons that I wouldn't want him. Nobody wants a 34-year-old tight end, let alone one that is just now becoming a tight end.
See, I don't have a problem with the signing. He's essentially a practice squad member. He's not. This isn't a real roster spot. We can talk about it later if he does make the roster, as he's stealing a roster spot. But even if he's 34, even if he hasn't played tight end, even if he's been out of the league for so long, his last name is Tebow. He is still a god in Florida.
Yeah, he is. I think the top 5 items on the NFL store for, I think that was earlier this week or last week. He was the top 5 items in the store. And I was like, so people are at least supporting him being there in Duval County.
This is the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that has not been relevant outside off years for how many years now?
Yeah, I think 2016, and then the Byron Leftwich era was probably the only times. I
2004.
Yeah, there's probably the only times that people may have considered Jacksonville a real place.
We don't want to talk about the Jacksonville wildcard thing because I'm a Steeler fan, so we'll get for that.
Now, in Tebow's 3 years in the league,
we won't talk about the Denver thing either.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Top 5 jersey sales. It's a publicity stunt from Jacksonville. The NFL, it's all about money and jersey sales. What do you expect?
But you're coming off a number 1 pick with Trevor Lawrence. That's kind of where I'm like, you don't need the jersey sales. You have a number 1 pick that is beloved in South Carolina that you're going to get jersey sales off of. I'm pretty sure he'll outnumber McCaffrey in the Carolinas.
A Jaguar fan that will buy 1 jersey, it's a Jaguar fan that will buy 2 jerseys.
I mean, you guys know, I agree with you, John, 100%. Like, it's a gimmick. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if they want to give Tebow a shot and see if he can turn into a tight end, I mean, what's the difference?
He came into the league. People said he should have been a tight end. If they said they're going to bring him in as a backup quarterback, then I have some hesitancy. But this man's going to be competing for a third string tight end if he gets on the roster at all. To me, it's a non-issue.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. I don't think he makes the 53-man roster when, come August timeframe or the end of August.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, does he get some preseason snaps? Of course he's going to, but I just hope he doesn't get hurt. I mean, Tebow is obviously, he gets downgraded because of his faith, right? And in my opinion, that's kind of, I think that's wrong. I mean, the guy is, that's his faith and whatever. I mean, that's great. That's a personal choice. Don't degrade the guy for it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But is it a gimmick when it comes to football? Yeah. I mean, I get it. I understand both sides of the deal, but do I think he's going to make the 53-man roster as a tight end? No, he should have made that move 7 years ago instead of going in playing quarterback, because we all knew he was a great college quarterback, but he was never going to be a quarterback in the NFL. And he should have made that move a long time ago.
Yeah, whenever you kind of go, I'm done in the NFL, and then go play for the Mets affiliate, and then become an analyst with SEC while you're a Mets affiliate. And I believe you're still an analyst while being signed to the Jaguars. It's just one of those ones where I think it's kind of like maybe try and make a second comeback for maybe publicity reason. And who knows, it'll work out. I know he is a great guy off the field, so I'm still hoping the best for him.
Sure.
I just don't think it's a good move for Jacksonville to move on, probably. But
no, I think the real story here is how many or what did it take from Tim Tebow to get Urban Meyer to agree to this? Did it take like a 3 a.m. knock on his door, like 70 voicemails? Did it take
I don't think very much. I don't think it took a whole lot. I assume it was like one phone call where he's like, hey, want to at least come and kind of try and motivate the guys? And Tebow's like, how long you need me for?
Exactly. I agree with you, Andrew, 100%. It's a motivation. I mean, is he going to be good in the locker room? Of course he is. Does he have life experiences, whether it's bringing it from college or bringing it from baseball or bringing it from starting quarterback at Denver? Sure, he's going to be able to bring life things that will translate in the locker room. But is it going to make a difference overall? Is he going to make a difference overall on the field? No, not
a bit. But sticking with NFL, we'll move on. Just trying to think about how many miles north up to Atlanta. Julio Jones ends up on Undisputed Live to say he's out of Atlanta and he'll never go to Dallas. And he's wanting out. The team says they're going to take offers. Is there any team that shouldn't or that is in no position to give an offer? That's
sounds like Dallas.
Kind of the big thing. Obviously, Dallas now is in a position to not kind of do it. But I like thinking Houston's probably not in a position to do it because you really need a future built right now. I don't think Tampa really needs to make the move for him, but I was like, other than that, 29 teams should at least be sending out some sort of offer because it is Julio Jones.
See, as much as I would like the circle to complete, I think the Browns should be out of it. I think they should step back. I don't think they need him. As much as I want to see Julio in Cleveland, that would look great, and it would complete the cycle. We traded all those picks for to get out of that, or we traded the Julio pick for all those picks that were busts.
Yeah, to end up with him again.
Yeah, just to end up with him again.
But there are also places like Pittsburgh that are kind of like a little bit of a wasteland for wide receivers, where it's like you probably should be putting out an offer for that at least.
No, we don't want him.
Oh,
we don't, no, we're good.
We don't want him, or we can't afford him because you have no picks still.
Good point. But I'm happy with the receivers that we got in Pittsburgh. I really don't look. People can hate on Ben Roethlisberger all they want, but you look at the numbers the year before he got hurt, he led the NFL in passing. He had a great year last year. He had no run game. I mean, you bring in Najee Harris. I get that they really haven't upgraded the offensive line, but I think you bring that weapon out of the backfield. I think they'll be able to run the football a little bit next year. You finally get rid of a really bad offensive coordinator who didn't really care about the run game. And I think that the run game comes back in Pittsburgh. I don't think we need Julio Jones. When you look at the Cleveland Browns, I think you get rid of OBJ and you bring him in. That's my thing. You get rid of the off the field antics and the locker room antics of OBJ and just send him packing. and you bring in somebody reliable. And I think that's where I'll go with that for the Browns. So, I mean, are there teams that are going to bite on them? Sure. I mean, absolutely. You're going to have contenders. I don't see them going to like Green Bay, especially with the Aaron Rodgers situation.
I
right?
think that's how you save Aaron Rodgers, as you go,
Well,
hey, we're going to send out a first rounder. For once, we're going to spend a first rounder on a wide receiver.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, Atlanta's kind of a wasteland too, right? That you had talked about. I mean, really, I mean,
Matt Ryan's getting older. You
Yeah.
don't really have a great running back. You have Todd Gurley, whose knees are made of glass.
Yeah, I think I have
Behind
better
him,
knees
you
than
have
he does.
Yeah, a running back by rotation, really.
Yeah, I absolutely love Matt Ryan. I think he's a great quarterback, but you got to give him
He's getting
something.
old.
Yeah, he's getting old. He's put in his time, and yeah, I agree with you guys. I mean, and I get Julio wanting out. I mean, look at what they've done the last several years. I mean, really.
Yeah, you put up
Low
all pro
Super-
stats every year, and you're still not. You've missed the playoffs. How many years? And at what point do you go? I'm going to go to a contender. I think that the team, obviously, everyone kind of has their team like, oh, they can at least make an offer. The Patriots are definitely one. He wants to play there. I think Belichick might actually make the move. I think Indianapolis is a sleeper one for him. I think that they very often trade away first round picks in the past few years in the Chris Ballard. And
they do need a star
receiver. I think T.Y. Hilton kind of needs that maybe to make his kind of comeback.
He's definitely not a wide receiver one. He's a very good wide receiver too.
Yeah. I love T.Y. Hilton. I have a jersey in my room, but he's kind of lost his touch. And I think Julio Jones and Carson Wentz, that combination might actually have me put faith into Carson Wentz. And I believe they're a playoff threat.
I think Carson Wentz is going to surprise people in Indy. I really do.
I
think
don't.
Behind a very solid offensive line, I think so.
I think so. I think Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. I think he showed his capabilities in Philly, and that wasn't a great team. I mean, name me a wide receiver other than their tight ends that he had that year. And look, they win a Super Bowl with after he got hurt. So I think he had a great year. I think that it took him a little bit of time to get back and feel comfortable in the pocket, but what weapons does he have? Name me a wide receiver. You know what I mean?
I'll pull up one. I'll see if anyone knows who he is.
Yeah, go online.
Oh, for me, I'm gonna get back to the Odell comment. I haven't seen an antic from him for at least 2 years.
Is their number one?
Travis Fulgham is
at
not a wide receiver
yards.
one.
Yeah.
But he did have some good games for me on my fantasy team.
Yeah, Jalen Reagor had 400 yards the entire season.
Yay.
JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Oh, Arcega-Whiteside. Yeah, remember, they could have had Justin Jefferson a pick before or a pick later.
But I think every team in the NFC North should be offering everything for, not everything, but a king's ransom for Julio Jones right now. I think every single team in the NFC North is an ideal landing spot. Green Bay, it may save your relationship with Aaron Rodgers. And for that, you need to
that's enough.
Anything you can. Aaron Rodgers is a top 5 quarterback of all time. You do what you can to keep him.
Cincinnati, I think, could go with adding him.
I think
the issue is you still don't have a
receiver
line.
room is stacked as is, and they need help in other places. They cannot be afford to be giving up anything, really.
Yeah, right now it's built the offensive line, so Joe Burrow can end the season
Detroit
having
lost
2
Galladay,
kneecaps.
But they did gain Stafford. Or
they gained
Goff.
Goff. That's
so
not
they
a
got
gain. They kind of ended up with Goff.
That's fair. But Goff, if you give him weapons and surround
He's
him
shown
with
talent with good weapons.
Yes. We've seen where he can take a team to the Super Bowl. Now that's depending on what you can put around him.
Yeah. Aaron Donald being your defensive key is going to make a big difference.
Chicago is looking good. You want to help your rookie quarterback as much as you can. And to do that, you put Julio Jones beside Allen Robinson.
You mean the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton?
Until week 2.
Yeah. And then they'll put Fields in.
Justin Fields is going to struggle in Chicago. It's just, he's going to struggle.
I think he's going to be in a better situation than what some people think. I think Mac Jones is the guy that's in the best situation, right? Or not Mac Jones, Trey Lance. Mac Jones is also in a decent situation right now where you just have to go in if Newton fails. And I think that with the weapons he's given, he shouldn't. But then Mac Jones has all of these great receivers. And if Cam can't do it, the bar is not real high for you. This is a guy that is an MVP and made it to a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Cam's done. He's been done.
I don't know.
No,
I think this is a second
I
win.
think another year in a Belichick system with more talent. If you look at that team last year, it was god awful. Even Brady wasn't making the playoffs. If your number one receiver is Gunnar Olszewski, if your number two receiver is Damiere Byrd, I mean, even Brady, I see him struggling to make that work.
Yeah.
Now to say Cam is washed because of the talent around him, I don't know about that. It's obvious he's never going to be 2015 Cam again.
Yeah.
Hey, John, I'll throw you a curveball. You ready for this one? You didn't like my OBJ comment, so you'll love this one. Josh Allen, if the Cleveland Browns select Josh Allen instead of Baker Mayfield, they already are in a Super Bowl.
I don't know. I disagree with that one. And I think it's just because I think the Browns needed somebody that kind of was cocky and arrogant and wanted to prove a point. I think Josh Allen was coming out of nowhere, so the bar would have been low. So, and that's how it's been with some Browns QBs. The bar is low. As long as you win a game, you're a successful Browns quarterback.
I don't disagree with that, but my take has always been everyone in that draft class, except for Josh Rosen, landed where they needed to.
Yeah. That I would definitely
The Browns needed Baker. Josh Allen needed Buffalo. And then Lamar Jackson needed a great head coach willing to change the whole offense around him to succeed in Baltimore.
I will go on the record. I will go on the record and I will come on this podcast and I will eat crow. I will literally eat a crow if Baker Mayfield ever wins a Super Bowl in Cleveland, because
one Super Bowl.
All right.
All right. I will see you here. Siri set a reminder in 1 year.
Set it.
Wait, it's what, February 18th, 2022?
Set it.
Super Bowl. So February 19th, we'll probably end it. Or no, we'll probably do one the 19th after the Super Bowl or somewhere around then. We'll have Chris on and watch him eat a crow.
I'll be here.
All right. So transitioning out of the NFL, I think the next appropriate move is probably going into the MLB, which is still in the regular season as well, with New York City's mayor Bill de Blasio wearing a Knicks, or no, NBA, not MLB, wearing a Knicks cap. Listen, the Mets and the Knicks both meld together in mind as just garbage organizations.
You know, it just occurred to me the other day. I saw it on Twitter that New York sports teams, the Mets, the Nets, the Jets, that wordplay has been lost.
And then you have the Rangers and the
years.
Islanders.
Yeah, I mean,
we're not going there either because they're leading the Pens in the series. So I'm sure you'll get to that. So,
but yeah. The Mayor Bill de Blasio wears a Knicks cap and tells Trae Young to stop hunting fouls. And I was like, wow, that is a bold move to say to a team whenever you're already down 1-0. I think that Trae Young might drop 50 to 60 in the next game just to kind of look at de Blasio and say, yeah, I didn't get any fouls that game. And I dropped 60 on you. And that's the only way I see that one going is that terribly.
Is Trae Young the ugliest player to be good at basketball?
Dennis Rodman.
I could go with.
I mean,
you
could say he's ugly, but if you look
George
at the
Mirasan.
women,
Madonna does bring up a good point. Madonna and Carmen Electra both dated Rodman, so he's doing something right.
Right. George Mirasan, I'll go with that one. That's the ugliest NBA player of all time. You ever see that dude? He's got a nose the size of
agree on that one.
A car.
All right.
I mean, Trey's just got to shave it. I mean, you're 22. What are you? Same-ish age as me. His hairline's back here. He looks like LeBron when he tries to spray paint his hair.
Yeah, staying in the NBA, we are in the NBA playoffs. We got to see the play-in system, which I kind of was a fan of. I thought it was an interesting concept that you got to see. And with the NBA playoffs, we obviously get to see everyone slander LeBron as they do every year, that there's some reason LeBron's not great and that he's actually garbage, which is just a terrible take. I can admit Michael and Jordan are the closest as close could be, and I'll take LeBron over him, but I'm never going to be like, Jordan was a bum.
You're killing me. See, that's where the old school comes in. No way.
Jordan played plumbers and grocery baggers and part-time mechanic.
They couldn't even play zone defense back then. You had to basically single team or double team, and that was it. Even Curry gets harder defense than Jordan did.
Here's all I will say about that. Michael Jordan stayed in Chicago. He built the team around him. LeBron has been nothing but a let's bounce from city to city to city to see what boys I can get to come play with me. Listen, LeBron James is a good basketball player. There's no doubt. He's a great basketball player. I'm not going to take that away from him, but you lose all respect when you want to start bouncing from team to team to team. Michael Jordan's the GOAT, man, period. End the conversation.
Is it the team that Jordan built, or is it the team Phil Jackson built?
They built the team around Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and LeBron's never had that luxury to have a team built around him. So he's had to essentially bring garbage cans to NBA finals, where Jordan was always gifted great teams and played against those garbage cans.
Did Cleveland not win the NBA finals?
They did. And I will say, after Kevin Love, that team does not look great.
Right.
That's your third best guy. And after that, the talent drops. If you even look at the teams that he won the Heat with, the fourth best guy was Birdman. That is not a great team. The fourth best guy with the Bulls was Steve Kerr. And that's still a great player. Who is the fourth best guy with that Lakers team?
Mike could carry a team, man. No doubt, period. He stayed in one team, didn't need to go anywhere else. Of course, when he
had to go to the White Sox.
Well, but he also went to the Wizards at the end because the ownership thing and the publicity thing, but they knew they weren't going to do anything there. But you're not going to change my mind on Michael Jordan, man. It's Michael Jordan, it's Larry Bird, and then maybe we'll talk LeBron. Maybe.
I don't know about that, but agree or disagree. It's definitely a generational thing, because my dad thinks the same way you do with Jordan is the greatest and then LeBron comes second. And there are people in the middle generation between me and you, Chris, that say that Kobe is the greatest of all time.
And I think Kobe Bryant was a great basketball player. And I think that, I even have more respect for Kobe than I do LeBron, because he stayed with the Lakers. He didn't.
Yeah, but every other season was, I demand to be traded.
Yeah.
You better give me someone
Chris
good,
Paul,
or I'm leaving.
and somebody's like, no, we're not going to give you Chris Paul.
He
That's
did
too much.
Stay, but he did make a fuss about it every year. So I don't know if the loyalty was there as much as everyone says it was. No disrespect to Kobe. But
But there's a difference between, making those statements to put pressure on the front office to bring people in, and actually, getting a TV show together to announce that you're going to take your talents to South Beach and leave the city that you grew up and you grew up 30 miles from and want to bring a championship to, and you leave them high and dry and in the basement. I mean, it is what it is.
I don't think that, and obviously I hated it whenever he made it, but looking back now, it's kind of, that team had no potential, and nor were they in any position to draft or trade for a whole lot, where I think they could have made them any better of a playoff contender. So that's a tough part of it, is could they have done anything for LeBron to keep him there? And I don't think there is anything they could have done in all reality.
Yeah, I get it.
But so sticking with that, do you have any favorites for the NBA finals on who's going to win it all?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a Celtics fan. I've been a Celtics fan since I was, a kid. So I was a big Paul Pierce guy. So, I mean, obviously I don't think Paul Pierce is the greatest player in the world. He was just my favorite player. I mean, the Celtics are done with no Jaylen Brown. So that would take them out. Anytime you got LeBron in, I'm not going to count the Lakers out. I mean, but I will say, man, Milwaukee looks really good right now early on. So I think it's Giannis's time. And, I'll say Milwaukee.
Yeah, if you see what they're doing to the Heat, I mean, it's kind of hard to bet against
It's almost
them right
embarrassing
now.
what they're doing to them.
Say what you want about the Mickey Mouse ring. These are the former NBA Eastern Conference champions, and they are clowning them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even in the West, nobody looks like a clear one. Ugh. But like Utah, as great as we can say the team is into being the best record, I don't see them as a finals team. I don't see the Suns as a finals team against the Lakers. Even if they could beat LA, I don't think they make it far. I think
I
that
would never
Denver
count
is a
LeBron
tough
out,
one that's going to be
especially
to beat.
in the first round. But
Yeah,
I don't see a clear-cut favorite in the West right now. Everyone looks very good. Everyone looks very evenly matched.
Yeah, except for the Clippers. I could see the Clippers
Except for
being
the
an
Clippers.
early. Yeah, Brady's not here to defend the Clippers, so we can definitely go in on him real quick.
It would be on brand.
Yeah, on brand for, even though he's not here, for us to make fun of the Clippers and the 8 fans they have. Don't worry, they can send all the hate mail they want to our YouTube and our Facebook and our Twitter. I'll read it and I'll laugh. So yeah, it's tough to pick any sort of winner even at this point, because everyone looks so evenly matched coming off a COVID season that teams like the Heat and the Lakers came with 70 days to start a whole nother season, where some teams were going off of 200. Yeah. Obviously, some of those 200 teams still looked bad. Cleveland, please fix some things. I love you no matter what. Just make it good and watchable. I'll beg and plead with them. I'll stick with them till the day I die. But man, at least make it watchable.
There's pieces there. It's you know what I mean? I think the first thing you need to do is you need to let Kevin Love go. You can't build around him. He's getting older. It's time to let him go. It's time to build around, the young guys that you got. And
I'm surprised they got absolutely nothing from Drummond.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's a hot commodity, but come on, no one would offer you a future second.
Yeah. And then you see, was it Porter go to the Rockets and drop 50
for
pieces.
Nothing?
Yeah, and that's
say what you want about establishing a culture, but if you can look past J.R. Smith throwing soup at your coach, that's literally assault. Then you can look past a rookie throwing a temper tantrum because his locker got moved to the end with the rest of the bench players.
Yep.
Yeah. And
especially if this rookie is supposed to be your future star, which arguably he is in Houston.
Looking like it in Houston. But yeah, then
that whole story was a non-issue to me, and it just frustrates me every time.
Yeah, stuff like Varejao, where you're signing this guy that hasn't played in 4 years to a 10-day contract. Obviously, I get it. I think part of me is excited because he gets to finish out his career in Cleveland and he'll retire with Cleveland and get to be in the Ring of Honor.
Why did it take so long?
But yeah, why did it take 4 years and enough guys just being sick and hurt for us to re-sign him? That seemed to be the part where I was like, it seems disingenuous and basically we're just taking anyone that'll willingly sign to Cleveland. But all right, I guess then moving on, we'll go back into a regular season with the MLB and the unspoken rule of do not swing at a 3-0 pitch at a position player throwing the pitching at 40 miles an hour and you send a moonshot to center field. And it's the unspoken rule. And I always have hated the unspoken rules of baseball.
I hate every single unspoken rule.
Yeah, it's tough to be like, I agree with it. I get the no-hitter whenever
if it was
somebody's throwing
rule,
a no-hitter, you don't bunt. I get that. You're going to get a legitimate hit, and I get that, and I can agree with it. But the don't cross the mound, if you're on a 3-0 count, you don't swing. If you're up a bunch, you don't steal. Victory formation in the NFL, just different things. And I'm like, really? You don't do shot or buzzer beaters if you're the winning team in the NBA. And I was like, I just didn't know those things. I found out if you're playing golf in terms of the Masters or anything like that, you don't walk on the green or you don't walk across the green. And I never knew that was a thing. And just so many things. I was like, I didn't know these were things. And now that I'm hearing them, I'm like, they're unspoken. And I guess they've probably never happened in a while, but baseball's really starting to kind of cross those lines of unspoken rules more and more. And it's helping with fans. I cared more about baseball whenever some dude cranks out a 3-0 pitch or when somebody pimps a home run off somebody I care more about that than the unspoken rules and the sportsmanship. I want to see guys getting more fights in baseball. Make it more like hockey. Let them fight it out.
That's why you watch hockey, right?
Yeah. The Rangers Capitals game, 3 weeks ago, where like puck drops and 6 guys start fighting, and within 5 minutes there's 6 guys in the penalty box, and I was like, this is my favorite game now. This is my favorite NHL game I've ever watched. I even got my dad to watch an NHL game because of all of the fighting that was going on.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
But here's the thing, in baseball, there is no time clock. So theoretically, even if you're down 10 runs, you can score 12 runs in half an inning easily.
Yeah.
Not easily,
We saw with
but
the
you can. So realistically, you're never out of the game. There's no reason to. What are you going to do? Strike out on purpose? You score as much as you can, because that lead is actually not safe at any given moment.
I mean, there are games where, like, if you look at Atlanta, Pittsburgh, that ended up being 20-1, where there's 2 grand slams, or was it San Fran? It was San Fran and the Reds. It was 19-3 or something. Yeah, like we're seeing heavy deficits, and anything's a comeback, but some of those are just, you're down so much that's just throw whatever you can at them.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's possible. So at no point should you
just throw in the towel,
leaving
put
points
in your
on the
shortstop
board
to do
because you're up so much.
Yeah,
it's not like the NFL where you're up 20 points with 2 minutes left, and there's physically it's physically impossible.
That being said, as somebody that supports the Browns, you still watch a game and you're like, we're up 30 and there's 2 minutes left. I still don't know if I trust this lead. But that may just be years of disappointment from Cleveland that you're just kind of like, I don't care how much we're up until the clock says 0. I don't trust
Cleveland to blow a 30-point or a 3-score lead.
I think they almost
2 minutes.
did against Tennessee this season. And I know Chris is wanting to make some joke about it, but just remember who beat you in the playoffs.
Well, no, I was going to say that I was sitting with a bunch of firemen at the fire station when that game was going on. And I said, as soon as Pouncey snapped that ball over Ben's head, the game was over. And they're like, no. And I'm like, dude, this game's over. They showed up.
So you said
the
first
Steelers
play,
did look demoralized
are done.
after that.
Browns fans were like waiting until like the last play happened. Like, this game's called.
No, I was calling it after the first play of the game. Done. Game's over.
Yeah, that was a tough thing to get past. But yeah, whenever you snap over your quarterback, that is not a small guy, into basically the end zone from 20 yards out.
Snap it a foot over Kyler Murray's head. It's another thing to snap it 2 feet over Ben Roethlisberger's head.
And it's another thing whenever you're a Hall of Fame, arguably a Hall of Fame center, right?
Yeah. Like, at least a Ring of Honor center. That guy will at least have some sort of honor in Pittsburgh.
Right. And how you do that, I don't know, but it is what it is. Congrats to the Browns. I mean, they won the game. Move on, and we'll see you next year, right?
I mean, as a Steelers fan, you have to be excited the Browns are good, because at least it's competitive now, and it's not just going to be two weeks a year. You're like, all right, well, we play the Browns. It'll be on at 1:00. I know we're going to win. Why even turn it on?
Yeah,
Steelers have been getting away with 4 easy conference wins a year, and no one has said a thing.
Yeah.
The Browns have always been bad for 20 years, and the Bengals and Ravens have been bad back and forth. They take turns.
Somebody
being
has
bad.
been bad in that era. I will say, Flacco telling Hurts that there's no guaranteed spot that Hurts is going to start, saying, I'm coming for you. I love to see it. I'm glad that Flacco isn't ready to hang it up yet and kind of just be a career backup. He's kind of telling him, get it going, or I'm taking your spot.
Terrible. He goes down with Trent Dilfer as worst quarterbacks to ever win a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, that's where I kind of stand with the, rings kind of don't matter whenever you get to it, because it's kind of, Dan Marino doesn't have one, but Joe Flacco does.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco has a Super Bowl MVP and not just a ring.
Yeah. Eli Manning has 2 Super Bowl rings, and you're going to tell me that he is better than a whole lot of quarterbacks, and I can't believe that. He's better than Philip Rivers? Couldn't buy it. I would never buy that one.
I'm not a Philip Rivers fan, but I'm surely not an Eli fan either.
Hey, Philip Rivers punched a bird out of the air. You got to give him credit for that.
Yes, I
he
will.
Beats up birds.
Yes, he did. I'll give you that.
All right, in terms of, and then on the topic of beating up, it's a great way to switch over to the NHL playoffs. I've got these transitions down, don't I? We've been off for a month and I got them down.
I'm good. We can move on.
Oh yeah, are the Pens out or are they close? Are they cusping?
3-2. The Islanders took Game 5 last night in double overtime. So the Pens are on the brink going to New York tomorrow night. The Pens had almost 50 shots on goal, and the Islanders had like 26 or 27,
and won 3-2 in overtime.
In double overtime, and they just couldn't get one to go, man. It was excruciating to watch, but it is what it is. They'll put the blame on Jari, and Jari wasn't the blame, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, then we also get to see stuff like the Jets sweep Edmonton, and then the next day your VP stepped down for a TV spot. Obviously, it's Gretz, and I can't believe that he was ever a VP of something and not always in kind of the more commentating end of it with just the accolades. I assume he'd get a job wherever he wants in hockey. But that is something that's kind of interesting to see. I'm excited to see this expansion team next season and how that'll kind of even out numbers with NHL. And I'm hoping they have the same run that the Knights did, and that the Seattle Kraken and the Crackheads end up getting to celebrate a Stanley Cup win, their first go at it. But yeah, it's with right now, NHL hockey is kind of in full swing. It's always running the same time as the NBA playoffs. So a lot of Americans focus in more on that than they do hockey. But hockey is one that I think is gaining ground. Same with MLS starting up. It's starting to gain traction. And I'm all for it. I'm excited to see it. Hockey is one of those ones where every time I watch it, I'm like, this is one of the hardest sports in the world. Not only are you fighting people on ice skates, you're hitting a puck,
100 miles an hour?
100 miles an hour. That's 3.5 inches in diameter. That people catch out of the air and with ease. I know one guy, I think it was last night I don't know. I think it may have been the Canadiens game, stopped it with his crotch and said, I don't have to worry about kids anymore. I'll do whatever it takes to win. That's commitment right there, to take a rubber puck off the dong and kind of, hey, whatever it takes. That's up there.
That's Mamba mentality.
Mentality.
The coach out of the Titans head coach. I can't remember his name right now.
Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel, yes, saying he cut off his wiener to win the Super Bowl. That's up there with that. Yeah. I don't need it. I'll take a championship.
Yeah.
That is commitment that not a lot of men can say.
I'll keep mine. Thanks.
Say, I don't have it in me.
I don't have it in me. I like it. I'll keep it where it's at.
But yeah, I before we get over to Formula One, I guess there's one more thing. It's more local, with the Columbus Crew changing the logo and everyone hating it almost universally. Getting rid of the title. Back. Yeah. Getting rid of the title, the Crew, which has been with them since 1996. One of the inception teams of MLS drops the 96 off their logo, drops the Crew off their name, and within a day it is back on it because people hated it that much. Is there anything you like? I can't think of any equivalent for that quick of a turnaround on a logo.
Yeah, that's
usually it takes them at least
a week or 2
few more days. Yeah.
For it to be 2 days. I mean, I think the Super League existed longer than that logo.
and it wasn't even walking it back. It was, okay, here's a new one. It's almost like they had that in their back pocket. Like, I don't know if they're going to go for this. Might as well design another one beforehand.
They didn't change a whole lot. They changed the SC at the bottom to say Crew, and they took a little triangle where the C was at and put a 96. So they did still kind of change it up a little bit. I ended up finally buying a Columbus Crew jersey. Luckily, it does have the old circular logo on it. And
see, I don't hate the new logo. I hate that they took the Crew off more.
Yeah, but then they brought it back, and I guess a lot of people, that kind of helps.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
because Crew or Columbus SC just sounds so boring.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, even Montreal, I think they're FC Montreal because French Canadians do everything backwards and wrong. I hope every person that listens to this that's French Canadian sends me hate mail. I want it. Give me the smoke.
Give me the smoke. Pop smoke on me.
FC, it sounds more normal than SC for some reason to me. It might be FC Cincinnati, but
yeah. It's just one of those ones where I think whenever you're translating to America, SC makes sense, but FC sounds better.
Mm-hmm. I think when you say it out, like Soccer Club Columbus, that sounds dumb.
But even Football Club Columbus sounds dumb.
It's not football.
But I think it makes sense in terms of Cincinnati and Montreal. It kind of sounds good, like Football Club Cincinnati, Football Club Montreal.
But even in Europe, a lot of the teams, it's kind of just the city's name and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of even Tottenham, it's maybe the Hotspurs, but everyone just knows it as Tottenham. Cincinnati will just be Cincinnati. Seattle is it's weird with American sports that we call teams by a kind of official name, that it's the Kraken, it's the Sounders, it's the Mariners. What would be the other one? The Seahawks in Seattle. Where like everywhere else it would just kind of be Seattle.
Right.
And then you're kind of like, it's the basketball team there, it's the football team there. It's just a weird American thing, I guess.
Right.
And I guess Canadian, but they're basically America. It's basically the same thing.
America Light.
Yeah, it's America Light. All right, and I guess since we're talking international, is the perfect time to transition over to the Indy 500 and Formula. That's why we brought Chris on. He is the only person I think that anyone in this area knows that will follow Indy 500 right now. I know we were talking like, who all do we know? And I was like, what worst case we get the driver on that we have that we sponsor. And we're like, oh, no, Chris knows a lot. Let's get him on. And sadly, our driver crashed his car, so it might be a little bit till he's back out there. So we'll be hoping and wishing Andrew Smart be okay and that they're back on the track soon out at Midvale.
Yeah, Andrew. Yeah,
he's a great kid. He's on my brother's travel team. I got to see him play last night. He's a great kid on the field. I can't wait to go to the track and see him race and hopefully bring home the hardware whenever I finally get to see him.
Yeah, he's doing good. His dad Randy's raced in almost everything down at Midvale Speedway, from a front wheel drive compact all the way up to a late model. So they're doing it right with him. He's just a young kid that needs seat time. People don't understand. You can't just throw a kid in and say,
you can't throw a 14-year-old in a car and hope that he can drive well.
Especially a rear wheel drive car. I mean, they're a totally different monster than a front wheel drive car. So they did it right. He practiced a lot last year, never really raced in a race, just did a lot of testing and put a lot of miles and a lot of laps on the car. And he showed some of that car control this year. On opening night, he decided to start on the pole in one of the heat races, and he was real close to spinning out and wadding up the whole field. And he showed some car control, and so I think Randy and Kim did a nice job with him, and he's a good kid. I think sky's the limit for him.
Absolutely. Now, John, you have younger siblings. Chris, you have daughters. I know I have younger siblings. Do you think any of them at 14 years old would have been able to do what Andrew's doing right now?
No.
I don't think I could trust Brady whenever he's 16 years old. Aaron is my best hope, is my 17, soon to be 18-year-old brother. I think he's my best hope to do it. And even then, I don't know.
But I had to move the sun was in my eyes.
Yeah. We'll go back to Indy 500. So this is open wheel racing in Indianapolis. That's only 5 hours. We haven't drove to Indianapolis for a preseason game. It's 4.5, 5 hours.
Yeah.
I hope I can go to it at one point in my life. But how is it different than NASCAR that everyone knows, and why is it such a big event around here?
Okay, so just the basic way a lot of people get IndyCar and Formula One a little bit confused. Get confused. So IndyCar races on ovals. Formula One does not. So Formula One is basically a European-based.
Yeah, Monaco, which would probably be the one everyone is. It'd be what you saw in Cars 2.
Yes, exactly. Right. And
or Iron Man 2.
Or
yeah, exactly. And they do run in America. They're talking about getting ready to run a race in Miami, downtown streets of Miami.
That'd be pretty cool.
They run Circuit of the Americas, where NASCAR just ran last weekend. They're basically just road and street racing cars that are open wheel, they're a lot more technologically advanced than what IndyCar is. It's a money thing. You're talking a lot of money over there. Europeans are a ton of money. So
and to shut down
IndyCar,
several city blocks, you have to hope that you're getting a big appeal with it.
Those are Ferraris and McLarens that
Exactly.
do Formula Ones and Mercedes.
Exactly. In IndyCars, Honda and Chevy.
Honda, Chevy. I got the page open right now. That is the only two.
That's the only two.
two.
And a lot of people want to say that it's spec racing. It's not spec racing. Spec racing is identically prepared cars that are the exact same across the board. That's not what IndyCar is. They have one chassis manufacturer, but there's a lot of different aero pieces, 2 engine manufacturers. Each team, the cars are different within that organization from team to team. So there's a lot of things that they can do. It's not spec racing, but it is what it is. Some people want to call it that. NASCAR, you could call spec racing because the chassis underneath the bodies, they're all about the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now the teams build them differently. They different shocks, different setups, different suspension pieces, but in the end, is it the same manufacturer underneath? Yeah. They just put a body on it in stickers that say Ford or Chevy or Toyota. So the biggest difference between IndyCar is at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, IndyCars run 240 mile an hour on the straightaway, and NASCAR run about 180 on the straightaway. So you would put an IndyCar at Daytona and it would literally fly off the racetrack.
Yeah.
So you couldn't, it would be so fast it wouldn't hold it. They're basically upside down airplanes, but at some point in time, they will create lift and lift off the ground and fly up into the stands. And you kill a bunch of people. That's how you would, end a sport really quick. So, so the Indianapolis 500 has been around 105 years. This is the 105th running. I've been to 31 of them.
Wow. And I'm guessing you're going to the one this Sunday.
Absolutely. I will be there. I've already been to Indianapolis twice. I was at practice last Wednesday. I was at pole qualifying and bump day on Sunday. It's something that my dad started taking me to when I was about 9 years old and just fell in love with the place, fell in love with the story of it. It's 105 years old. You know what I mean? The track used to be completely made of bricks. That was just insane to me, right? And something that's been around 105 years and has as much as history as that place does and has as much automotive ingenuity and technology that's come through it. For Pete's sakes, the first car that ever won there had the first rearview mirror. So, it's a pretty cool deal. There's nothing like watching rocket ships go 240 mile an hour wheel to wheel. It's pretty exciting. So it's kind of my thing.
It's your area of expertise. It's kind of where you thrive, where nobody else could.
Yeah. If you want to call it that.
Exactly why Power 10 asked you to come on.
I appreciate
you have an
it.
expertise that nobody else might have. But I was like looking through the list and I was like, all right, I'm trying to see if there's any guys that may have done NASCAR before. I know Danica Patrick did it 2 years ago and she was NASCAR. Actually, wasn't she? She was Formula, transferred to NASCAR, dated Aaron Rodgers, got broken up with by Aaron Rodgers, and now she's retired, I believe.
Yeah, she's retired. She ran the Daytona 500 and Indy 500. What was it? 17 or 18 was her last year. She did them both, but she started out in IndyCar with Bobby Rahal's team. Bobby Rahal is based out of Columbus, Ohio. Won the Indy 500 back in '86. His kid drives for him now, Graham Rahal. I'm a big fan of his. He's kind of my guy. He married
number 15.
Yeah, he married Courtney Force, who is John Force's daughter, drag racer.
Okay.
Don't know if you ever heard of John Force. He's like 16, 17 time funny car champion. He's a pretty cool dude. He's like 70 years old going 330 mile an hour in a funny car. He's a pretty cool dude. And his daughter's pretty good looking. We'll just throw that out there. And Graham wiped her up a couple years ago. So it's just, like I said, it's kind of my thing and it's good stuff. Good stuff.
All right. Well, I know obviously I'm looking through the heats and I'm like Juan Pablo Montoya. I recognize that name. Yep. James Hinchcliffe. I don't know if that's Jamie Hinchcliffe or if there's any relation with that. No relation or anything?
Cliff is he has a big website. They call it Hingetown, and they call him the mayor of Hingetown. It's a big social media website. Back in, I don't know, a few years ago, he started that stuff. So his nickname is the mayor of Hingetown, but no, it's not Jamie Hinchcliffe. No.
All right. Marco Andretti. Whoops, I misread that one.
That's Mario's grandson, Michael's son. So Marco won the pole last year for the 500. So.
And then Connor Daly, who I believe has been on Pat McAfee's show a few times. I know I've gotten to listen to those interviews, and I know he just seems to be a genuinely nice guy. No relation to the golfer John Daly.
No.
But
no,
yeah, it's got to be an interesting thing.
That raced in the 500 back in the day. Also raced in Formula One in Europe. He was also a sportscaster for a local Indiana TV station after he retired. Kind of stuck around there. Connor worked his way up through the ladder system. He actually drives full time in the series, but he drives for 2 different teams. So, which is kind of cool. Most of the time, except for the Indianapolis 500, he runs for a different team on the road courses and street courses, and the Indy 500. He runs for the team that he's with this week at Carpenter Racing. So,
yeah, this is always something that I think everyone should at least give a watch and check out. I know I got the pleasure of watching it last year with my dad, just kind of remote, obviously with COVID. But it's just one that like you kind of watch and you're like, that is insane how they do that. I know that's one event I want to kind of visit in my life on my bucket list. I think my top 5 are probably Indy 500, the Le Mans. I know I want to see WrestleMania at some point in my life. The kid in me wants to see that. And then obviously a Super Bowl, and hopefully my team's in it. And probably number 5, Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I'll give to the number 5.
I like that too. I'm a huge Joey Chestnut fan, so it's all good. We tried to do that at the fire station a couple of years ago. I got like 6 dogs down. I'm like, dude, I'm done. I can't do this. I try to be all cool, right? And I put like mustard on one and relish on one, and I'm like, I'm not dunking it. No, you need to dunk it, dude. You put too many flavors in there and it screws it all up. But yeah, the Indy 500 is definitely something that any sports fan should go check out. When you literally have a place that's been there 105 years, and you can put every single Major League Baseball stadium inside of the grounds of the place, it's incredible. It's the single largest single-day sporting event in the world. There's no bigger sporting event in the world than the Indianapolis 500 on Memorial Day Sunday. You know, in upwards of close to 500,000 people. The place is just it's so big. There's no seat in the house that you can see all the way around. I don't know. It's just something that's really special about it. That's where the proving grounds of automobiles were back in when everything started in 1909 when it was built. So it's just a really cool place. It's a really cool story. When you walk into the place, you know, you can kind of feel the eeriness and kind of the ghosts of the Speedway. Been a lot of guys and girls that have died at that place trying to make things safer for our road and street cars. So yeah, it's pretty cool place, man.
Exactly. So I want to know, I gave mine. What would be your top 5 sporting events that you want to see in your lifetime, or maybe that you have seen that you would just kind of say it was that good, it's got to be in the top 5?
Man, I mean, I would say for me, I've never been to the Daytona 500. I'm a huge racing fan, obviously. So Daytona 500 is probably up there on my list. Super Bowl, probably, you know, a 1A. I would love to go to the Masters. I absolutely love the Masters. So that's kind of on the bucket list. Man, you know, I would say those 3 off the top of my head are huge, you know?
Yeah. All right. Nothing else. You not got like a 4 or 5 that you're maybe like, oh, it would at least be fun to go see it. So where WrestleMania and the hot dog eating contest exists for me.
I'll give you that. WrestleMania I would absolutely love to do that, but you got to bring back Stone Cold. You got to bring back The Rock. You got to bring back the Macho Man, Hulk Hogan. Then I would absolutely be stoked to go to that. You know what I mean? Okay, so 5th one. Dang, I don't know. I mean,
I'm trying to think it kind of more on the obscure side that might be kind of one that. Well, what about the National Firefighter Games?
Yeah,
No appeal to that one.
No,
that's gimmicky. I don't want to go to work and have fun.
But you just watch. You just got to watch them. I'm not saying you got to compete.
To him, that's the company picnic, honestly.
Get it? No, I don't know. I'll say I've never been to a World Series game. I've been outside when the Indians were playing or whatever. When they were playing the Cubs a few years ago, we were outside. Never got to go into a World Series game, so I'll put that on there.
All right. And John, your top 5?
This would be depending on the Browns making it, but the Super Bowl. I think if I was ever to get the Cavs back into the championship, a Game 7 in Cleveland, I would like
to. One.
World Cup, El Clasico, and depending on if the Bearcats make it, Fifth Third Arena would be live for the national championship.
They'll be there in a couple years, John. Don't worry.
But that's always in Texas.
You gave some answers with soccer that I didn't, and I'm that's kind of the thing I've always loved. El Clasico is one that it's become one-sided over the years, and kind of different teams end up taking such a dominant lead. Dos a Cero would be my soccer one. I would love to see US Mexico play obviously somewhere near the border, so you get to see both sides of it there. Because it's an insane rivalry that's existed for the past 25 years, I think, where US upset Mexico, and now every time they play, it's kind of nobody knows who's going to win. It is, as odd as it is to say, it's the Browns-Pittsburgh thing, where kind of, even when Cleveland's bad, it's still usually at least a close game. So even when the U.S. men's team isn't the best, which has kind of been true the past 2 World Cups, I think they have a talented team coming into this next World Cup, but it's one where we haven't been able to put out the same quality as the rest of the world. But yeah, that'd be my soccer one. World Cup definitely be another one. I think it would definitely be bigger if we weren't American, because it's something we've never gotten to experience, so we don't know what the vibe would be like around it. And I know I talked with several people. We celebrate weird whenever it comes to national sporting events. Like the Olympics is this year, and I bet the U.S. will win it all. It's a safe bet to say that. We will just go to work the next day. I assume a country like Italy will win 6 or 7 gold medals, and there will be nothing happening for the next 4 or 5 days. France will win like over a dozen, and I'm pretty sure they'll burn down 5 or 6 buildings. They'll end up rioting and like throwing another coup. Yeah, I'm like, the U.S. doesn't celebrate right. We got to get way more hyped about the World Cup and the Olympics. And like, if we win it, nothing happens the next few days. We just party in the streets.
I'm down. Let's do it.
All right. You got to cover my back then whenever the cops start coming for all the open container laws.
I got you.
That's the big struggle right now, is there's open container laws in the U.S. that stop us from partying in the streets.
Right. We'll get rid of that. Yeah. We're good. We're good. I got some pool around here.
We got to start partying before we're good, because all these kids growing up, they want to win the Super Bowl because they want to be on TV. You know, I'm going to Disney World. No one thinks about winning the World Cup and imagining everyone's reaction.
Yeah.
Now, if we just start partying and shutting down work for a game for getting like in the second round.
Yeah, if we make it
then
like out of the group stage, like, go nuts.
Now, if I score imagine game-winning goal in the last minute, or stoppage time.
Yeah. So that's it. So that's the goal. And then with the Olympics, I guess it just kind of maybe acknowledge it and celebrate more.
Yeah.
We're just too good at this point. That's the problem. Michael Phelps has 23, and Simone Biles is on his tail after one Olympics with 4. She fails her own moves and still wins. That's just an absurd amount of dominance. The fact that we have NFL players,
that's how much we don't care. Ask someone who the greatest athlete of all time is, and they're like, oh, Tom Brady, LeBron James. Michael Phelps has 23 gold medals. Simone Biles is going to catch him.
She has 4 at 23 years old, and she'll have another 4 in the next coming months.
Go check out Jesse Owens. I mean, my dude set 3 world records and tied another one today like in 19, whatever it was. You know, I mean, you want to talk about a dominant athlete. What about Jim Thorpe?
Yeah.
Another one, multifaceted in the early 1900s.
Bruce Jenner winning a decathlon and being the like ultimate underdog. First woman to win a men's decathlon.
I mean,
he's made the joke. She's made the joke. It's all good.
she's right.
Yeah. She has already made the joke. I think it's on Netflix with Burt Kreischer. She makes the joke that she's the first woman to win the men's decathlon. But yeah, like
we got to start caring more about our Olympic athletes.
Yeah. I mean, we even have a local kid that is winning championships in swimming and I think he was a top 10 time for swim. Sadly, he didn't get to qualify for the Olympics because of his age. But our boy Hunter Armstrong, hopefully he watches this or at least sees it somehow, and we get him on around the Olympics. I'd be super excited that we can get some perspective from somebody that's winning championships at he's 4 years younger than me, so at 19, 20 years old, winning national championships and international championships. The fact that everyone around you probably knows him, at least in my age group, knows him on some sort of personal level, and it's not like a huge deal. Yep. We need to make a huge deal out of that. Hype him up. Start buying him meals.
I'm with you. Let's do it.
All right. Anything you want to plug or promote?
No, man. I just appreciate you guys having me on. And when you're ready to come down to Midvale, let me know. I'll get you in, man. And you know, it's a good time. They changed a lot of things up down there, so we just repaid the turns down there. So
nice.
Things out. Yeah, everything's kind of cleaned up. So I'll get you guys down there. You can come down and enjoy the sights and sounds and smells. And you know, just if you're not doing anything Sunday, tune into the Indy 500. I think you'll be impressed as to what those guys do. I mean, you want to talk about putting your life on the line for a sport every time you go out to do it. I'd say 240 mile an hour in a 1,500 pound rocket ship that's glued to the ground, wheel to wheel with other cars. That's kind of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, speed has never killed anybody. Suddenly stopping is what gets you.
Very correct.
But yeah, I think that's all we have for this week. Remember to go check out Big Z Sports. I'd have Chris Kail and some other people check out WTZ, where you can also catch Chris sometimes. This Big Z Sports. One of his co-host Travis McClellan didn't catch me on that whenever he was on, and I get trouble for it. But yeah,
it's all good. I mean, it's, you know, it is what it is. We're it should be good tomorrow night. We got the Philly game. Myself and Adam Sweski are doing the Philly girls game, the Division I, Region 1 regional semifinal. So it should be pretty good. They take on Cleveland St. Joseph's Academy. So you can check out Big Z Sports on Facebook, Claxon Communications. And also just YouTube it. You can go to YouTube, you know, after the game starts at 5:00, you can go and just search WTUZ Big Z Sports and watch it back. Should be good. Hopefully the Lady Quakers will pick up a win and move on to the Elite Eight.
Let's hope so. But yeah, as always, give us a like, comment some of your thoughts, maybe some things that we should talk about on future shows. I know that we will have Willie Nowak on sometime soon. I know we promised that over a month ago to do Who is the GOAT. You leave your thoughts on that. Who is the greatest of all time across all sports?
We are getting that show done.
It'll
soon.
happen eventually. I guess our thing is, since there's no time constraint on that one, we can do it whenever we want. But always leave a comment, subscribe, share the comment with your friends if you think we're that good. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook at Power 10 Sports. And then always high school, college athletes, high school, college coaches, anyone that has any sort of expertise in sports or wants to talk about it, shoot me or John or Aaron a DM, or shoot our Facebook or Twitter page a DM. Hey, we want to come on. We'll obviously try and arrange something. We managed to get Chris on with 2 days notice?
Yep. Hey, that's all good, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a lot of fun, man. Hopefully I can come on and join you guys again in the future. And hopefully I'm not eating crow.
Yeah,
hopefully
we'll definitely get you on again. We'll try and get you on maybe
near
college football season. We'll get you on around then. You get to chat with us. We get real animated during that one.
Sounds good.
That's our bread and butter is college football.
Sounds good. I like it.
Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in, and catch us next time whenever we talk with Willie Nowak about who is the greatest of all time.